Hey guys, we're just going to jump right into it, of course, on a serious note. This is text message that I got a few days ago and messages that I've been receiving too many times throughout the last few years. Now, specifically what I am talking about are the countless numbers of American service men and women of this country who volunteered and helped out after 9/11 in New York City who are sick and dying. Now, of course, I want you to keep in mind what I'm going to tell you in relation to the latest national emergency that the government is dealing with. Now, after 9/11 here in New York City, there was a massive plume of dust filled with some of the worst chemicals that you can imagine, of course also including asbestos. That dust traversed all around the city, including my neighborhood, where you could literally write your name in it like as if it was snow. Many government agencies, including the EPA, ran tests on that air quality and then came back with the results saying that they were absolutely toxic. They sent that to the White House, where of course the cover-up began under the Bush administration with Condoleezza Rice and many others, doctoring the findings from saying toxic, horrible air that will have tremendous negative health effects on everyone there to the air is safe to breathe. They gave this report to the mainstream media. The mainstream media puppeteered it to everyone. There was news reports by those same journalists puppeteering those same government lines, talking about how the Twin Towers were filled with asbestos and that they were giant white elephants. Without question, without reason, without even any logic, the mainstream media ran and regurgitated everything the government told them to do. This, of course, severely affecting tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that have been sick so far. Many have died and many more will die from here because of the government's own effort, because the government went out of their way during a national emergency to lie to its own people. And then megalomaniacs who were, quote, in charge of the city, like then Mayor Bloomberg, started to deny basic medical benefits, which, by the way, were even entitled to many city workers, to many firefighters, military personnel, police officers. Mayor Bloomberg said no. It was all just PTSD, and the firefighters and the rescue workers weren't sick because of the dust. Emergency workers, some of them that I know, that were even told not to wear hazmat suits, not to protect themselves against this deadly, toxic plume. Later to only die from the lack of even the most basic medicine. This is, of course, the same mayor that right now wants to rule over the entire country, and it was recently leaked that this man admittedly serves the super mega rich at Goldman Sachs, calling the bankers his own peeps, while promising to, of course, defend the very powerful. And you might be asking yourself, why? Why did the government go out of their way and cause such human havoc, such human wrecking, such human suffering from some of the most bravest people that ran towards dangers to help their fellow man and woman? Why? Well, the reality of it is no one really knows. Some people say very poor decision making, but again, this wasn't a decision that they were forced to make. This is the decision that they retroactively made. Some people say it was because of the economy and to prevent the spread of panic and to help the stock market recover in the American financial markets, that this was supposedly needed to be done so Wall Street wasn't shut down. But nonetheless, for me personally, in my opinion, understanding history, this is not an anomaly. This usually does happen, and this is usually what we should be careful of. And now we have another national emergency in our midst that the Chinese government, that the U.S. President Donald Trump has been reassuring us is not a problem. The mainstream media is telling us that, oh, this could be just like a flu, especially in the early onset of it. If you were preparing or worried about this, you were somehow racist in some way. And in reality, knowing what I've known and what I've experienced and what I may soon experience with my own personal health because of the government's decision and the media's attempts to cover it up, I know for damn sure it's best to be skeptical during these situations. And again, just like we were calling out from the very beginning, we told you to be very skeptical of the official numbers, especially coming from the Chinese government that is more worried about covering their own asses instead of actually doing the right thing here. And we're getting some estimates by the statistics here that the official numbers, specifically in one of China's major cities, could be higher, up to 52 times the reported infected rate. And as we warn you what to look out for as we get rid of the fake news, the paranoia, the distractions, and actually give you analysis that has been dead on from the very beginning of this coronavirus, we need to remind you that people who are reporting on this independently, without special interests, without big pharma money, just simply independent media, are getting severely hit for just reporting on this, just like China Uncensored, many other news outlets, including this very one, have been hit dramatically, not just demonetized, but downranked in the algorithm from even being allowed to share this important information to you. And with all the censorship efforts, you are very lucky to still be getting this video. If you have friends and family members, please share this video with them. And again, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for your support. And you could easily support us by going to wearechange.org/donate, and you could get involved in the fight for free independent media, free speech, free thought, for an open and transparent society in many different ways. The website is wearechange.org/donate, and your support now is more crucial than ever. Now, information is critical here. It's the key here. And when we have totalitarian, top-down, big, huge, bloated, bureaucratic governments like the Chinese government denying us information, we, of course, should be worried, as they were prioritizing going after journalists and doctors and imprisoning them for reporting on this virus initially, and now they're spending an unknown amount of resources censoring any kind of information. And just from my own research alone, it's been about 2 weeks now since we've gotten any independent videos or photos from the town of Wuhan, as it looks like that entire town has gone dark. Now, seriously, what's happening out there when it comes to censorship and restricting alternative independent viewpoints is essentially bringing us back to the day before the internet, when, of course, the mainstream media controlled the narrative. Just like on 9/11, they controlled the narrative, they did the bidding of special interests and of government without any critical thinking, and they sold the people down the river. They screwed us over, and having a monopoly on speech, on information that only serves the government and its special interests, this is a concern that should worry everyone. Now, when it comes to the coronavirus, again, we've been talking about this and all the strong evidence suggesting that it came out of the level 4 weapons lab facility in Wuhan in previous videos. But when it comes to the coronavirus, there are some important things to realize, and that is, even though that many people are predicting that most people will get the coronavirus, even a Harvard scientist coming out recently and saying that 70% of the world will get it, we still have to understand that the majority of people who do get this new unknown virus will not just survive it, but some people won't even know that they have the virus because they won't be showing any symptoms of it at all. Some people will react to this virus as if it is the cold, and again, a lot of people will be affected by this severely if they are older or immune compromised. And there's a new consensus that this new coronavirus will be a seasonal disease, just like cold and flu season that happens every fall and winter. But of course, this could also make the contagions worse. There is still very little natural immunity to this virus, and comparatively speaking to the cold and flu, the people who are severely and negatively affected by this, the small percentage of people who have this virus, the symptoms are far worse than just the cold and flu. Now, of course, we've been telling you this from the beginning, and also reminding you that if there is going to be an emergency, it's going to be one of an economic one with, of course, panic and the markets being negatively impacted by this virus. And there's no denying the negative impacts that the markets have been feeling the last 2 days, as many people have been selling off their stocks and trust in the financial system is going down. A lot of other people are speculating that this could be reason why many powerful CEOs stepped down this week, including the CEOs of Disney, MasterCard, L Brands, Salesforce, Uber Eats, Hulu, MGM, IBM, LinkedIn, Match.com, and many other CEOs all stepped down within just the last few days, which some speculate could be some kind of signal of as a global potential economic decline. Now, of course, as more bad news around the coronavirus spreads, so there's the possibility of worsening economic impact, as of course the CDC has now confirmed 6 new cases of coronavirus in San Antonio. There's a flight attendant who was diagnosed with the coronavirus after she was in and out of Los Angeles, flying on Korean Airlines. There's even an American soldier based in South Korea that was diagnosed with the virus. As of course it is inevitable, now even according to the CDC, that this virus will become a pandemic and spread all throughout the United States. All of this while Donald Trump is still insisting that he is doing a great job handling this virus. And again, this is definitely not a time to pat yourself on the back here, to be quite honest with you. This is definitely a time for skepticism, and Trump's words really aren't reassuring to me or really anyone paying attention, to be quite honest with you. Now, of course, there is a lot of unfair criticism of him, but in reality, this is surely becoming an emergency that I absolutely have no faith in the government in handling correctly. Now, this is an extremely unique, unpredictable situation that it's going to be very difficult for any government to properly handle, as already there have been many mistakes, especially with the U.S. State Department sending back coronavirus-infected patients on airplanes with healthy individuals, even though they were specifically warned not to do so. And the one thing that is sure here is that this virus is spreading, as right now the number of new coronavirus cases exceeds the number of cases that exist in China. And it is expected to grow and expand from here as these numbers are increasing, and there is still a significant number of people with the virus that don't know that they have it. Which again, this all signals that there will be more of an economic impact because of this. Now is this time to panic, to fear, to sell off everything you have, and to go hide in an underground bunker watching, of course, crazy conspiracy theorist videos from Texas screaming at you that the end of the world is coming? No! It's not, but it's also time to be smart, educated, and prepared. I am not a financial advisor, but I've been talking about this for many years, about the importance of diversifying your wealth and not just keeping it predominantly in one place. And if you have wealth just in US dollars or just in the stock market, I think it would be a rational thing to do to diversify a little bit. At least maybe take a small step of even just 10% or 15% of your income and moving it to alternatives. If you have some money to lose, I always recommended playing around in the Wild West of the crypto market, but always play with money that you're willing to lose, since it's a Wild West market and you could literally lose half of your wealth, of your investment, within a matter of days. Now, there's also been a lot of people who've been financially prosperous because of the crypto market, but again, it is just a wild market. But one of the ways that you could safeguard yourself against any potential crash or bigger economic calamity, which is really something that should be significantly carefully looked at with this whole coronavirus case. Regardless of the human impact, there is and will be a bigger economic impact, and we should be prepared for that economic impact. And one of the best things that you could do to safeguard yourself against any kind of instability in the market is have good relations with the people around you, your friends, your neighbors. If ish hits the fan, can't curse here, family friendly show, but if ish doo-doo caca hits the fan, you want to make sure you stay away from that particular fan. And the best way to safeguard yourself from that is by having people close to you that are also smart and prepared and will not only be able to take care of themselves, but also lend a helping hand. So having a community, having a strong family is something that has safeguarded individuals all throughout human history. Not being dependent on the state, on the government to help other people is really the smart, rational way to proceed from here, in my own personal opinion. And as this fake quote from Woody Harrelson says, I think it's fake, I don't think he really said this, but if we spend as much time helping people as we do asking the government to help people, the world would already be a better place. Having, a little bit of storable food, a little bit of rice, a little bit of beans, a little bit of water also tucked away, doesn't really cost you much, and also it's a smart thing to do. Because trust me, just like we learned from many national emergencies, the only person you can really depend on is you yourself, while of course being skeptical of big powerful forces that serve special interests and not the people. And if you look at what's happening in China specifically, there should be a lot of harsh criticism against the Chinese government that prioritized arresting doctors and journalists who were warning us about this instead of actually dealing with it. Right now, Chinese technocratic companies that came from Silicon Valley are working and trying to evolve when it comes to their social credit score and being able to set up facial recognition systems that could spy on you even though you have one of these masks on. For freak's sakes, when will there be any responsibility from the Chinese government mishandling of this entire scenario, giving out incorrect medical supplies that didn't work, not having enough of them, not preparing for this, while still concentrating efforts on shutting down any independent video and photos coming from China? You would think dealing with this virus would be a priority, but no. Not for the Chinese government that, of course, is spending a lot of its resources shutting down information from getting out to you. So yeah, again, don't fear, but be prepared for it all. And trust me, it's going to be, if ish hits the fan, it's going to be far more significant than just people complaining about not getting their Coke Zero or their Diet Cokes because they get their aspartame from China that they can't procure anymore. Anyway, with that particular aspect, that's actually a good thing. Donald Rumsfeld introduced aspartame, but that's a whole other story within itself. That's my own personal take on it. I gave more commentary, I gave more editorializing in this particular video. It's not something I usually do, but I don't know. Did you like this kind of new format of video? Let me know yes in the comment section below, and if no, yeah, don't leave any comments at all. It's cool, it's fine, don't worry about it. No, I'm joking. Obviously, if you have some important criticism and feedback, I am all ears, especially during the first hour that a video is out. Click the bell button if you want to be a part of that discussion every day that we have these videos coming out. And again, we could only do this because of your support. And once again, thank you so much for allowing me to do this. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.